So my time is a little short, but I'm going to give us some brief but vital updates on just what's going on. So right now there are two federal regulations that are trying to come into play when it comes to the LA protests. They're trying to call them riots. And why this is problematic, calling a protest riots, why is that problematic? Does anyone know? Yeah, because now they can be policed differently. So also they can insert martial law. So calling protests a riot can give the federal government power to send the military in, like as a national emergency. Just a protest, standing up for your rights. What are we doing about it? California State Bill, Senate Bill 805, law enforcement and ICE must show ID if asked. So that means if they're jumping out of cars or they're coming and trying to get people, and we have a tendency to say, oh, this is not affecting the black community, black people are not being picked up, you're wrong. You're wrong. They are picking up black people. And so the problem with that is that we're being left out of the media. Yeah. And so we feel safe and we feel comfortable. And we feel like we can turn the other way because it's not happening to us until it happens to us. So we do have to be vigilant and understand what's going on. So the second is, it's no secret that the police like to wear masks. They like to cover their face up during these riots. So there's a Senate Bill 627 where police cannot wear masks to hide their face or their identity unless for health reasons. So you coming out here, we want to see you. We want your badge number. We want your face on the front of LA Times. We want to know exactly how you stand and where you stand. Local actions. Pasadena told residents to call local police if they see ICE. This could be a model for other cities. So they're trying to make this a model for other cities. Pasadena is now trying to incur this model and push it forward to different cities, like it could be possibly something that we can do here in South LA. So if you see ICE, what you can do is you can always ask for identification. People are recording ICE agents, calling out fake bounty hunters. So if you see something, say something. It's okay to step up, stand up, it's all right. We're needing to track how ICE is disrupting daily lives, schools and parks and etc. How to help, how to get involved. Keep documenting. There's a proposal to create a national defense fund for those facing federal charges. So when we hear things like that, let's get on it. I'm going to wrap up real quick. And the Summer of Resilience will do a daily update at 9:30 a.m. So you can Google Summer of Resilience and get the update on what's going on in your community and around you. All right? And I'm going to pass this back to Khalil. Thank you all for your time.
I'm gonna be over here so I can rest my nose. Thank you for that great introduction. Yeah, so like Khalil said, my name is Baraki. I use they and she pronouns, and I am the Los Angeles organizer for BAJI. Where are we at? Oh, okay, we're at objectives, great. The point of us being here today, and I'm going to try to move through this quickly because it can be kind of lengthy, but kind of 4 main objectives. One is for you to learn about BAJI a little bit and our history and our current work. And then to understand the kind of landscape of Black immigrants in California, and we'll have some information that is specific to Los Angeles City and County. And then identify the systems and policies that are disproportionately impacting Black immigrants. And not just Black migrants, but really the Black diaspora as a whole, right? It affects one of us, it affects all of us. And then finally, we'll end with some calls to action, ways for y'all to get engaged here. Go next. Yeah, so a little bit about who BAJI is. First of all, we were founded in 2006 in Oakland, California by Black migrant and African American religious leaders who saw the growing influx of Black immigrants in this country and the erasure of Black immigrants from the discussion of immigration. And so they wanted to do something about it. So they formed BAJI with the vision of protecting and advocating for Black immigrants. And we are still living in that legacy to this day. We are now a national organization with headquarters in New York, but chapters in California, Georgia, Florida, Texas, and we also do work on a national and federal level as well. And our mission statement, mission is such a yucky word, so colonial, but what we do is fight for the rights of Black migrants and African Americans through organizing, legal advocacy, research, policy, and narrative building. And we do this so that we can improve the conditions of Black communities by advancing racial justice and migrant rights. So the work we do really does live at the intersection of racial justice and migrant rights. And the work kind of falls within three buckets, called the 3 C's. So there's care and wellness, there's anti-crimmigration, and then civic engagement. And so care and wellness is really like a holistic approach to caring for our people. We consider ourselves a resource hub in that whenever community members need support of any kind, we offer different referrals, guidance, whether that was language access for code information, whether that's mutual aid, right? We've had mutual aid programs before that have assisted people with financial support, mental health support, health, rental and housing assistance, and other forms of support, including legal aid. We have a small but mighty legal team that does incredible work for our people, whether it's direct representation or legal resources, right? We have a public folder that has a very robust legal education, which I'll share more about in a second. And then we do public education like this, right? We come to community members and educate them on political, happenings in the country and in our cities. And then anti-crimmigration, if you don't know, I'll share in a bit, but crimmigration really speaks to the intersection of the criminal sanction system and the immigration system. So the work we do is to prevent separation and deportation and to really highlight the criminalization that Black people face on a daily basis and the fact that it is a systemic part of this country. And then we fight for all forms of protection, but really want permanent protections for our community members. Finally, civic engagement. Elections are one small part of this, but really being involved in policy work so that we can ensure our communities are protected at, through local and federal policy efforts. So the next, that was supposed to be blank so I could ask y'all questions, but the next slide. But I mean, you guys can, raise your hand or just shout out, why do you think some of these issues would be, something that Black immigrants are facing? Why would Black immigrants have to worry about, anti-Blackness? They're immigrants. What anti-Blackness are they facing if they're not African American? Anyone? I mean, really just why would you think, this was meant to be blank and you were meant to fill in why you think some immigrant, what are some issues immigrants face. But since you can see some of the issues up here, can you speak to any of the particular issues? Yeah, please.
I was gonna say the anti-Blackness is stood out to people. Like I think anti-Blackness is incorporated in a lot of many different facets of society right now. So it's kind of easy to discriminate towards Black people. One,
a good opinion. I agree. I mean, we're black first. No matter where we are in the world, we're black first, and we are going to face that. So a lot of people are coming from their home countries where everybody around them is black. Then they come to this country, and the first thing they experience is anti-blackness, is that racialization and like othering of themselves from the rest of us. Something African Americans have been experiencing their whole life. The countries on the 36 country ban that Trump just rolled out are black diaspora countries, right? Black majority countries. So yeah, absolutely. The ability to like connect back to your family, even if you did move out here, or if you want to go back, is very, very difficult for our people. Yeah. I mean, we could talk about a lot of, oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, currently, the political climate, the Trumpism and how they want to cut, like, the Medicare and, the SNAP program and all that, is just going to make people, more living in more poverty and not have access to health care. And it's just only going to get worse, I think, under his administration. And hopefully, once he finishes breaking everything, we'll be rebuilding. And I think that's where our united collective energy and efforts will be very important.
Yes, that's a great point. Thank you for that. And I want to add that for a lot of black folks who maybe have varying immigrant status, especially if they're undocumented, there's a fear that they would experience something called public charge if they were to take benefits like Medicaid and other public benefits. Public charge essentially means it would go against them in immigration court if they were receiving support from the government. Now, in a lot of ways, that's something that's done away with, but that fear is very much still there, and it prevents people from taking advantage of things like Medicaid, which right now, Governor Newsom is preventing from us having, right? There's slashes in terms of the Medi-Cal budget, and all of our people are being affected by that. Do you have a question?
No, I just want to uplift obtaining legal status. For a lot of asylum seekers, they have to pay around $600 for a work permit. Just imagine if you had to pay $600 every 2 years to work to be able to get a paycheck to feed yourself, feed your family, to just live in this country. They are legally here, but they have to provide legal papers for work permits.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely that. The obstacles even to existing here and having the ability to work, right? Yeah.
You gonna bring us home? It's the last one.
Thank you. I think capitalism kind of includes all of it.
Yes.
I'm a black immigrant, and I know why I'm here. Because the U.S. was in my country, exploiting it since I remember, right? Like that's why I had to come, and that's why a lot of people want to come. And when I first came here, I would tell my family and friends like, no, don't come, it's horrible here. But then at some point I'm like, come everybody, they're ruining our country. Everybody come.
Perfect last comment too. Thank you.
No, that was so great. And you touched on so many things there too, because yes, capitalism, that's the big one that we're all kind of suffering under. But there's colonialism in that too, right? The U.S. is going, disabling and dismantling other countries' infrastructures, and then are saying, no, immigrants can't come here, especially not the black ones. Yeah, absolutely. We have a right to be here, not just because we have a right to, but because you're over here destabilizing my country. What do you mean I can't come? You shouldn't have come to mine to begin with. But all right, let's move it along. Appreciate y'all. Oh, I don't have my person here. Can somebody hit the next stop? Thank you. Thank you so much. But we're just going to get into the different types of immigration status very briefly. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You could be a U.S. born citizen, a naturalized citizen, somebody who wasn't born here but ends up gaining citizenship status, right? By going through that rigorous process of tests and questions. A legal permanent resident, which is mainly known as a green card holder. Oh, she came to alleviate you. Thank you so much. Refugees and asylees. temporary protected status, or TPS, which you may hear about in, in the news cycle, excuse me. And then undocumented or underdocumented, right? Or for a lot of people, that would look like having DACA, right? We can move on to the next one. So, just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an understanding of data on Black immigrants right now. This is new data coming from a research project that we did with USC's Equity Research Institute, or ERI for short. And it's available online for free, and it's a great resource that you can use to get an understanding of the state of Black immigrants in California present day. It has information like, how many, what is the most top countries of origin for people in California, where we see that the top 4 is Nigeria, Ethiopia, Belize, Eritrea, and Jamaica. Also Kenya, sorry, I missed that, Kenya. And we're seeing that many of the Black immigrants who are now living in California are people who have been here for a long time, right? They're long settled. There are still people who have come here relatively recently, like within the past 2 years, but a majority of the folks have been here like 30 plus years, right? They immigrated a long time ago, and now they're part of the fabric of California, right? We can also see that Los Angeles County and Los Angeles City have the highest population of Black immigrants, right? If we're talking statewide, 1 in 4 Black residents in California is either an immigrant themselves or a child of immigrants like myself, right? And in Los Angeles, it's 1 in 5. So we are a part of Black Los Angeles, Black California. There is no dividing us, right? We are the Black community. And if you go even deeper into the website, you'll see that we're all living amongst each other too. Majority of us are in places like Inglewood, like Hawthorne, like Ladera. So we're very much so part of the same community, right? Wanted to add that, so in addition to Los Angeles, we see communities like cities like San Diego, Oakland, San Jose, and San Francisco being really big populations for our countries. And then in terms of countries of origin, we have a diverse diaspora. So you heard me say Nigeria, but also Belize and Ethiopia. So people are coming from Africa, but they're also coming from the Caribbean, from Central America, from Mexico, right? Our communities are diverse. Black is not a monolith, right, by any means. This just really highlights the diversity, but also strength in numbers. Like, we may be only 8% of the overall immigrant population, but we are strong in terms of the Black population. Let me move to the next, thank you. So statistics. Yeah, Black, again, make up roughly 8% of the overall immigrant population, but we face much higher, disproportionately higher criminalization rates, right? So Black immigrants are more likely to be detained for criminal convictions than the immigrant population overall, right? You can see those bubbles that maybe you can't see it because of the color, but 73% of Caribbean immigrants are deported on criminal grounds, and 63% of African immigrants or immigrants from African countries are deported on criminal grounds as well. That's in comparison to like Northern and Central America, 50%, and all nationalities being 51%. These are big contrasts. Again, we only make up 8% of the overall immigrant population. That number should be proportional to how many of us there actually are. But instead, we're having the largest numbers in terms of deportation because of being criminalized in this country. And we know that that happens because of interactions with local law enforcement first, right? They're the biggest feeders into the deportation system, is having those initial interactions with law enforcement agencies who racialize us, racially profile us, and then send us and feed us into the immigration system when they're done abusing us, right? We also see that this criminalization and separation of our families affects us in terms of incomes, economic status, employment levels, right? Nationwide, 6% of black immigrants and 10% of US-born black residents who are ages 16 and up were unemployed, right? And this was data from migration policy, right? So we're seeing people who are dealing with unemployment, right, at a higher rate than other immigrant communities or US-born communities that are not black. And then we're also seeing people being housing burdened, right? There's racial disparities already that exist among the unhoused population. We know here in Los Angeles specifically that the unhoused population is a large percent is black. And in that is also black immigrants mixed up in there. I think in California-wide, 5% of the state's population are black unhoused Californians. Actually, excuse me, that's incorrect. 27% of unhoused people in 2021 to 2022 were black Californians, which is a very large number. And this is a problem because we're seeing that people are spending a large share of their earnings on things like rent and are not making enough in income to subsidize the need for that housing cost. So they're not able to spend money on critical needs like Medicare, medical care, or groceries, or the idea of investing in savings is not even possible because you're focused on survival every day, right? This is an issue. Like, we need to be able to ensure that Californians, black Californians specifically, have access to affordable and quality housing. It's part of public health. Public health is having housing. Public health is having a stable form of income so that you're able to afford, surviving and thriving in this country. We're also seeing that black US-born and black immigrants have a higher percentage of people who are living below 150% below the poverty line. And something like that, those numbers are really small there, but like 89% of those who are rent burdened and living below 200% below the poverty line are black immigrants. That's the second highest number of community members who are living below the poverty line in California. So we can move along. Going a little bit back, we already kind of touched on this, but again, crimmigration is the word that we use to refer to the intersection of the criminal sanction system and the immigration system. We call it the criminal sanction system because there is no justice in the system, right? We already touched on criminalization migration, but again, natural human act, and what's happening here is a criminalizing of a natural human act. So I want to move along to who are our ops. You'd think some of this is straightforward, but just to run through it real quick. DHS is the Department of Homeland Security. That's kind of what houses a bunch of the federal immigration departments, right? ICE are the foot soldiers of DHS, right? They're the immigration agents who are raiding our communities, separating and kidnapping people. CBP, similar to ICE, but CBP is usually found at borders, which means at airports. Los Angeles is within 100 miles of a border, so we're considered a border town. And USCIS is the agency that people go through to, handle their court systems, do paperwork. And then public and private prisons, jails, and detention centers, because they're profiting off of us being caged, and that is part of the capitalism we talked about before. Local law enforcement and their so-called unions, we know that law enforcement is not a real job. It's just being foot soldiers for the state, right? Slave catchers, right? And they can't really have unions, right? Because you can't be a union if you're enforcing the work of the government. Unions are meant for people who are working class and who are fighting against a higher system of power. Police are the system of power that you're fighting against, and the people who actively are called to enact violence against workers who are trying to unionize. So just need to put that out there. Global architecture of surveillance is a much larger conversation, but is something that is important, especially in this moment when people are being identified through license plate readers and through social media for speaking out against things that are wrong. any institution that upholds carceral systems in the military-industrial complex. I'm sorry to say it, but our elected officials are not our friends. They are part of the enemy. They are bought and sold by corporations, by lobbyists, and the US government. I don't need to say it, there are ops. It's last, but certainly not least, capitalists are our enemies as well. I'm gonna just, the next slide please. Very briefly, because we kind of talked about it a little bit, the arrest to deportation pipeline. Again, it starts with racial profiling by local police. That happens because of anti-blackness. SROs are like school police. So I just wanted to acknowledge that it also starts off in our schools. And then we get sent to the pipeline, into the carceral system, where family and community separation happens, right? And then, because of things like 287G, which essentially allows local police to have contracts with federal government, ICE transfers happens, right? So maybe you did get sentenced on a criminal charge, but you served that sentence, and now ICE is communicating with your local jail or prison, and they're waiting outside to pick you up, and then put you in ICE custody. And now you're dealing with other things like solitary confinement, abuse and mistreatment, and then you're gonna have an immigration court hearing, which very likely will lead to your removal. And I wanna add, solitary confinement and abuse and mistreatment also happens in the criminal sanction system. We can move along. I'm not gonna get into this because we don't have time, but these are just a drop in the large bucket of racist policies, both nationally and locally, that we're having to deal with. I can talk a bit more about it later, but I just want to move us along because we're short on time. Some of the strategies that we can use to address these issues that we've talked about. All of these are important. There are things on here that are not listed, or sorry, there are things not on here that are also important, but the biggest one I have to say is organize. Being in spaces like this, having a community discussion, working together to really organize and build people power against these systems is the most important thing that we could do right now. I'm gonna skip ahead a few slides. If you can join me, keep up and take me to the Global Black Solidarity slide, if you can just go a few more. Yes, okay, great. So these are ways for us to be in solidarity with the Black diaspora at large. Documented, undocumented, citizen, non-citizen. We need to be in solidarity with each other and with, these are ways for other people to support us too, right? One thing is learning and unlearning. Learning what your fights are, learning who your enemies are, right, which we did. Learning what your rights are, and especially the experiences of Black diaspora at large, right? And then unlearning misinformation and disinformation about the Black diaspora. There's stereotypes on either side that end up being used against us because of internalized anti-Blackness that we face within our own community. So unlearning that, and also just learning who we really are, right? Learning who our communities are, and that fact that we're really not that different after all. Unlearning the inclination to panic amidst chaos, I think, is the big one. Thank you. In the midst of everything that's happening right now, there's this heightened sense of fear, heightened sense of just tension, and like we need to do something, we're panicking. Breathe. Remember that we are grounded in discipline, that we are grounded in a long, long history and legacy of struggle, and we have the tools that we need to work collectively to dismantle these systems of oppression, right? Of course, unlearning anti-Blackness as well. Internalize anti-Blackness, because unfortunately we are raised in the system, so it affects us in one way or another. Share what you learn, inform your people of what you learn, talk to your neighbors, right? Share resources. If you have KYR cards, share them out, print them out, make sure your community has access to knowledge, because knowledge is our strength right now in the time of misinformation. And just share what you can so that you can empower yourself and your community. And then finally, protect, right? Show up for each other. If you can, report and interrupt ICE activity, only if you're safe to do so. If not, just record from a safe distance and make sure that that gets to the right hands. And then, the biggest way we can protect each other is divesting from local police and joining local safety groups like CAT 911, which is Community Alternatives to 911, join a mutual aid group, and again, organize, organize, organize. The next slide is just different ways that you can show up. I had added this later, but we have a toolkit for folks who want to tap into what's currently happening in terms of like fighting back against these escalation of ICE presence. It's called bit.ly/BAJI resist. Come up to me afterwards if you want it, because Bitly's case sensitive, but you can also just sign up right here to join our organization, and these are a number of ways that people can tap into the work that's being done. The ones in white are things that you can join in local groups. The ones in red, which I'm now seeing you can't see very well, are KYR card distribution, court support. We have trainings for court support coming up, immigration court support if you're able to be a court watcher. We really need the volunteers. Frontline defense, and then interpretation and translation. It'd be really great if we had community-based. We have it as a third party, but they don't speak the language the way community members speak the language. So we need those three forms of support, really. KYR card distro, court watchers, and then people who can do interpretation and translation. I'm going to send it to the closing slide if that is all right. Yes. So just wanted to end with the words of Assata Shakur. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and protect each other, and we have nothing to lose but our chains, right? This is more than a workshop. It really is a call to action. Every policy we have, every resource, every program, it's done for the purpose of transforming lives and protecting each other. So let's continue to do this work together. And yeah.
And what our role is to play. We talked about critical thinking, we talked about not having fear, being well informed, and being united on how we coordinate against a system that is the way it is. So some solutions we had was creating our own media platform to play your role. Everybody has a role to play. One example of it was like in my personal situation, I know somebody that has had their dad deported, so their mother is still here, so I go to the grocery store for them, and then bring the groceries back to them, you know, so they don't have to go out. So I guess just take that as an example of how you can maneuver through this situation, but is it addressing and applying the pressure within the system that we need is the question. And I think that we can get even deeper than that to actually uproot a system that is built on Jim Crow, built on the slave catchers, you know, and reflects what is built. All right, thank you.
Bring it.
I'm gonna hand
With the team, you know, y'all gotta show up like they did to my fellow red team. Who wants to share what y'all talking about?
Well, I can tell y'all what like I said, I've been a member of LABWC for about 2 years now, so I've just been living and learning, picking up games from the great. But I would say what I took from this session overall, this build, is there are legitimate pathways to answer questions, and it's people to go to that know about self-care, that know about wellness, that know about actual federal policies and bills being passed. So it's a legitimate pathways to go about not only bettering your career, but actually turning an idea into a bill and a law for your people. So that's pretty much what I got from it.
legitimate path.
Okay, we're going to be handing it off to Jeremiah and Trina to close out our session for today.
Just give it up to Jeremiah and Trina. We also have Jeremiah and Trina will also invite one more speaker to share a few words after they close out.
Can we give it up for Khalil, Bianca, Ted, Sherry, all of our partners? Can we also give a round of applause for y'all being in the room today, right? Like y'all showed up very satisfied. Take the time out. Can y'all hear my voice? Yeah. All right, who here likes what happened today and is inspired and ready to take action? Who here is ready for that, right? Who's here for that, right? You better stand up for Black workers. Who's here to gain access to quality jobs? Who's here? Who's here because they know Black workers are the most marginalized worker in the workforce? Who knows that? Who's here for that? So what happens next, right? The work. Because if Black people don't stand up, who is? Because historically, Black people have won everybody benefits, right? Can I get an amen to that? Right. So me and Trina, I'm the organizing coordinator here at the Black Workers Center. You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Trina Trader. I'm the campaign and coalition manager. I started out as a member leader. Back in 2013, I met Sherry, and she asked me to come do an internship at the Black Workers Center. Back then, they were building the Crenshaw line, and there were no Blacks out there. I grew up on Crenshaw, worked on Crenshaw at the Crenshaw Mall, so I was outraged. And so I saw the power of us coming together and building together and moving Metro, and we were able to get that project up to 19% together.
Right. And for me, I'm from Long Beach, California, so I'm from the LA County, and I was told that if I went to school and I did all the right things, that I was going to get a job, right? No, that wasn't the case. I had to work live, I had to hustle. When I graduated, and the Black Workers Center gave me an opportunity to be a community organizer where I helped build power for going on 7 years now. And I understand the plight of our people. It don't matter how many certificates you got, how much experience you don't have. It doesn't matter, right? This system is built to oppress Black people and Black workers. And if nobody in this room stands up and takes action, then we're gonna keep on falling victim to the same bullshit that happens year after year, right? So unless we come together in this room and we take action, your daughter, my cousin, your niece, your brother, people are gonna still be falling victim to the same oppressive system that literally affects Black people and the trajectory of our quality of life, right? Right. So who's here to take action? So I got everybody to clap and all that. That's all great. But right now we're taking action, right? So how many people here signed up for an action card? Who all did an action card? What's that about? Who all did an action card? Did everybody sign up for an action card in your breakout groups? Did everybody do an action card? Yeah, if you need an action card, please, right? So we're gonna have organizers follow up with y'all early in the week to, follow up, see how you like it, but also how can you really deepen your involvement with the Black Workers Center, right? Whether that's coming out the phone bank, whether that's referring people that's a part of your network to build a real strong movement. We gotta have more people in the room, right? Because we've done a lot of campaigns, but without y'all in the room, we're not gonna be able to get access to those quality jobs. We're not gonna end or reduce employment discrimination, and we're not really gonna win, right? So we really appreciate everybody coming out today, but the work does not stop here. It's gonna happen tomorrow, Monday, and so on and so forth, right? So give a round of applause for all of our speakers. We got Ella Burrito back there, and we got a lot of juice and all that. Please take some home. Khalil, you said somebody wanted to speak for a little bit, right?
Are we going to talk about something?
Oh, yeah, okay.
So we have a committee structure here at the Black Workers Center. So we have our Arts and Black Culture Committee. Can I get people to raise their hand if you're part of the Arts and Black Culture Committee? We have our Wellness Committee. Any Wellness Committee in the house? We got our PEC.
Who's the
in the house.
PEC, yeah.
Shout out to PEC because they put this event together. We have a Communications Committee. Anybody on committee? I saw Siobhan, she left.
Yes, Siobhan.
Communications in the house. Our Stewards Council, is the Stewards Council in the house? And our leadership committee, can we get the WJLC to raise their hand? So here, Brian, WCO member. Castro, So other ways to get involved, you can attend a BWC event, you can attend city hall meetings. We have a meeting next week with the controller's office, so that if you want to get involved and be a part of that, we do lobby visits. We meet with our elected officials. We refer, if you have anybody that you need to refer to the legal clinic, or if you need to be part of the legal clinic, we talked about that earlier. You can volunteer phone bank. You can volunteer. You can go out and do outreach and recruitment with Bobby. You can adopt a car wash. I don't know if we talked about that. Did we talk about adopting car washes?
We did not.
So we can talk about adopting a car wash because we want to make sure that our folks are safe and when they go to work out to the car wash. Because they're going hard in on the car washes, y'all. So they need us to stand out there to notify them, make sure everything is safe. We got to keep our cars clean. And share your story. You know, some of us don't even know that we have a story that would be interesting to people. But share your story. That's the way we connect with each other. Because all of us are experiencing Black Jobs Crisis, so our stories really connect. And get involved in one of our campaigns. Right now, we're running our 1,000 Strong campaign, where we're seeking to place 1,000 Black Angelinos in the public sector jobs. But that has been a struggle. So we need you guys to show up with us to make sure that employees are prioritizing Black workers in public sector jobs.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody coming out. Please fill out the action cards and we'll follow up. Can we get a BWC on 3? 1, 2,